Buenas tardes. Good afternoon. My name is Joshua Foreman Ortiz, and I am the Student Life and Leadership Assistant in the Center for Student Life and Leadership Development at Kenyatta College. My pronouns are he, him, his, L, and I'm grateful to be here today and presenting with you all. Phil, thank you for your attendance, and I hope this reaches more students. Phil, I invite you to turn your camera on if you'd like. I'd love to see some faces and get that experience and interaction, but also whatever you're comfortable with is fine too. Just wanted to extend that invitation. Right on.
What will we do in the mindfulness?
Yeah, so I'll get into what we'll be doing, but to give you a short synopsis, we'll be doing some mindfulness practices and learning mindfulness skills.
Oh, okay.
So bear with us. You'll see as the presentation goes on. We'd hate to lose you.
Oh, all right.
So excuse me. Before beginning the presentation, I want to recognize the land in which we're occupying, that we're on Ohlone land. And so often the Native American community is thought of something of the past, but it's important to remember that Native Americans are still in our community today and that we could continue to honor their tradition and acknowledge the land that we're on. If you go to native-land.ca, you can find out what tribes or communities are originating from the land that we're currently on. I also want to take a moment to stand in solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement. After the murder of George Floyd, there continue to be protests and demonstrations, and the Center for Student Life and Leadership Development continues to be an aspiring ally for justice for the Black community. Mindfulness is the awareness that emerges through paying attention on the purpose in the present moment and non-judgmentally unfolding experiences moment by moment. So I'm going to leave this quotation up for a little bit as it seems as though more students are trickling in. Again, this is a session on mindfulness, and my name is Joshua Foreman Ortiz. My pronouns are he, him, his, L, and I am the Student Life and Leadership Assistant on campus. We just took a moment to acknowledge the sacred land that we're on and to also acknowledge our solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement. So to read this quote over, mindfulness is the awareness that emerges through paying attention on the purpose in the present moment and non-judgmentally to the unfolding experience moment by moment. Our why and learning outcomes include why this presentation is important is because mindfulness can help reduce symptoms of anxiety. It could increase tolerance of distressing situations and increase your relaxation. Things that we'll do in this session include practice mindfulness. We will learn and increase skills to cope with difficult situations and achieve better emotional control and be more focused in the present moment. Additionally, for those of you who just joined, I would invite you to share your video. It'd be great to see your all's faces and be in community with you all if you are comfortable in doing so. Thank you. So I know some of you all were with me yesterday, and we're going to be doing the exercises that we did again. And I find these exercises to be helpful because they will allow us to more focus fully on the present moment. Many people feel that time goes by very quickly, and as a result, they're always in a rush to do things, and they're always thinking about the next thing they have to do or the next thing that could go wrong. Unfortunately, this just makes us more unmindful of what we're doing in the present moment. So this simple exercise will help us become more mindful of how quickly or slowly time actually goes by. Before I go over the instructions, I ask and invite everyone to get a stopwatch or a watch ready. I know for me, I use my iPhone. There's a setting in here in the clock area where you could go to the stopwatch section. So I'm going to reset that. And if I could get a thumbs up when people are ready, or not if you're sharing your video so kindly. Great, thank you. And so the instructions include: begin timing yourself with the watch or stopwatch. Then, without looking or without counting the seconds, simply sit wherever you are. When you think that 1 minute has passed, check the watch again or stop the timer. Then please note how much time has really passed. So we'll get started in just a moment. I invite you all to sit in a comfortable position, find a quiet area with little distraction. And I'm going to ask us all to start in a few seconds. I personally will close my eyes to try to avoid distraction and just think to myself when a minute has passed, and I'll stop my timer then. So again, go in here on my smartphone, and in 3, 2, 1. Thank you for your participation. If you haven't stopped your stopwatch yet, it has been over a minute. So I'd invite you to unmute yourself if you're comfortable sharing, and I'd like to ask some of the participants if you allowed less than a minute to pass, or did you allow more than a minute to pass?
I was at about 30 seconds.
Diva, that's where I usually am at too.
It felt like a minute, but it was around 30 seconds.
Thank you for sharing, Diva.
Sure.
Do you often feel rushed, Diva, in your day-to-day?
I think I'm really action oriented. So for me, I'm always moving and acting. It's really not easy for me to just relax and do nothing. So I have to be very deliberate about doing nothing, and I'm not the best at it.
Understood. Well, thank you again for sharing.
Yeah, sure.
Anyone else?
I was, this is Adrian Afif. I was 4 seconds short of a minute.
Oh,
I was
Pretty
close.
good, Adrian. Pretty good. Personally, I did this exercise yesterday for Colts-Con, and so Diva, I got 30 seconds yesterday. I knew in my internal clock to wait a little bit longer, and so I got 50 seconds today, but still not a minute. And so just a few bits of information regarding this exercise. If it wasn't a full minute, consider how this affects you. Are you always in a rush to do things because you don't think you have enough time? Or did you allow more than a minute to pass? If so, how long was it? Consider how this affects you. Are you frequently late for your appointments because you think you have more time than you really do? Whatever your results were, one of the purpose of this skill is to help you develop a more accurate awareness of all your moment-to-moment experiences, including your perception of time. If you'd like, I encourage you to return to this exercise in a few weeks after you've been practicing your mindfulness skills and see if your perception of time has changed.
That's good.
And now for another exercise. Focus on a single object. As I joked yesterday, maybe you have a diamond laying around like in the left hand side of the screen there where you could grab and hold on to, but it could be anything. I know I have a coffee mug here, my iPhone here, a pen or a pencil. Just anything you could get your hands on. And if I could get a thumbs up or a nod if you have your video on, to let me know when you're ready for the instructions. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you. Seeing some thumbs up. Great. So for those of us that were in the session yesterday, as you might remember, I invite you to sit comfortably and take a few slow, deep breaths. Then, without touching the object, begin looking at it and exploring its different surfaces with your eyes. Take your time exploring what it looks like. Try to imagine the different qualities the object possesses. For example, what does it look like? Is it shiny or is it dull? Does the object look smooth or is it rough? Does the object look soft or is the object hard? How many colors does the object have? Or is it single colored? Are there any other unique qualities about this object? And I invite you to take your time observing the object. Now, hold the object in your hands. After you begin to touch it, notice the different ways it feels. Is the object smooth or is it rough? Does it have ridges or is it flat? Is the object soft or is it hard? And is it bendable? Is it rigid? Does the object have areas that feel different from each other? What's the temperature of the object? If you could hold this object in your hand, how much do you think it weighs? And lastly, what else do you notice about the way it feels? I invite you to continue to explore the object with both your sight and your sense of touch. Breathe comfortably. When your attention begins to wander, return your focus to the object. Keep on exploring the object until you feel like you've covered all of its qualities. Thank you. Anyone want to share what this exercise was like for them? No worries, we'll keep it moving. So, another exercise on mindfulness is describe your emotion. Now, if we have time, I invite you all to get a piece of scrap paper and a pen or a pencil. Hopefully, everyone has that available. If I could get a thumbs up. If you do, that'd be great.
Got it.
Cool. So moving on, here are the instructions on how to describe your emotion. If it loads.
Welcome back. How's it going for you so far building those mindfulness muscles? Well, the fact that you're here tells me that you're persistent and that you want change. So let's get started. Today, we're going to work more on our emotions, which means being mindful of our emotions. Modern life has become so fast-paced. I'm sure that just like the rest of us, you mostly don't stop to notice the emotions you're feeling, right? Now, that's not always a problem, but practicing awareness of your emotions can help you deal with the next strong negative emotion you experience. Instead of repressing or not knowing how to deal with it, you're going to learn a skill that will help you feel more free and in control. Are you ready? Before we start, try to notice what you're feeling in this moment. If you're not sure, these tables will help you identify what you're feeling right now. If it's easier for you, pick an emotion you felt recently. For example, right now, I feel kind of curious about this whole exercise, so I'm gonna go with that. Alright, your turn. Pause the video and pick an emotion. Go ahead.
So just have a moment to get some ideas of maybe any emotions that you might be feeling right now.
You'll need about 10 minutes for this exercise, but you don't need to set a timer for this one. What you will need is a pen and a notepad. If you can, print out the worksheet for this exercise or just draw the table yourself. Okay, first write down the emotion you picked. Now, what would this emotion look like if you were to draw it as a picture? You can express yourself however you want, and maybe it's gonna be a picture that only you understand. That's perfectly fine. For example, I chose curious, and I think I'm gonna draw a question mark and a little book. Great! The next step is to think of what you usually do when you feel this emotion. Take your time. I know that when I feel curious, I usually...
Sorry for my poor connection here. But if you all want to go ahead and get started on drawing your emotion, well, hopefully I get this Wi-Fi back up and running.
want to explore things, read, and find out something I didn't know before. Let me write that down in my worksheet. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you describe the intensity of this emotion? I think I would rate mine 5 out of 10. Alright, the last thing I want you to think about is what kind of thoughts you have when you're aware of this emotion. What comes to your mind? Observe your thought process. Okay, so that was describe your emotion. Keep up the great work and I'll see you in the next video.
Great, thank you. So again, that was first drawing your emotion after you decided what it would be. I think there was describe your emotion, rate your emotion, and then how's that emotion make you feel? So draw, describe, rate, describe again, I think were the instructions.
I think she said something about what do you do when you feel that emotion?
Yes, thank you, Diva. Thank you. Yeah, rate the intensity, describe thoughts related to the emotion. Would anyone like to share? Either their drawing or just what they're feeling right now, as we're in day 2 of Colts-Con and fall 2020 is around the corner.
I think I don't have a student perspective, so it's probably not useful to share.
No, it totally is. Any participation is appreciated and encouraged.
Well, I can't speak for the students, but I'm feeling like overly focused, I think. we are gearing up. There's so much to do, at least from our area. We have Colts-Con this week and jams next week, and then classes start. So I feel focused. And I think one of the things that, I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse, but when I have things I need to do, I start working on it mentally, automatically. It just starts happening. I'm planning, I'm organizing, I'm making lists of things to do. And that can be overwhelming when you have a lot to do. So that's why I think mindfulness is really important for someone like me.
Thank you, Diva.
Slow things
And
down.
could I ask, how did you draw focus?
I do eyeballs pointing forward.
Nice, thank you.
I'm not the best at drawing things.
Nor am I, not at
I don't
all.
know if you looked at it, if you do that, but my interpretation were eyeballs.
Anyone else comfortable sharing their emotion right now, or their drawing, or both? Great. Well, I hope that everyone is doing well, and that these skills help us regulate our emotions. Excuse me. This is another exercise that if we had more time for, I would include. You could find it on YouTube, as it's obvious. Mindful awareness of emotions. This is similar to maybe a body scan that you've done before, just really focusing on each part of how the emotion impacts you. Like, do you experience jaw tightness? Do you experience chest tightness? How you could relieve that stress and those feelings. So I encourage you all to come back to this exercise and video when you have an opportunity to do so. And thank you all for staying with me over time. I'll try to wrap this up in just a moment. Some literature that I've read that's very helpful resources to me, and I hope would be to you too. Readings that I encourage include Self-Compassion by Dr. Kristen Neff and Radical Acceptance by Tara Branch. I believe they've given TED Talks that you could find if you don't want to read the whole book or just get an idea of what the books are about. I know if you go on selfcompassion.org, I believe is the official site, you could quiz yourself on your own self-compassion. I think so often, especially personally when I'm under pressure, it's hard for me to give self-compassion to myself. So I know as a student, these two books would have been very helpful to me during my journey. And even after my education, they still are helpful, and I'm still learning a lot about mindfulness and acceptance and self-care. And in conclusion, I want to offer a moment where you all could ask questions or have comments. And additionally, here is my information, my email address. Please don't hesitate to ask any questions that you have now or in the future via email. I'm always available in any subject, whether that's, how do I enroll in the class, or questions about getting a virtual student body card, or questions about self-care and anything. So let me know. And if anyone has any questions now, I invite you to ask.
And I'd like to ask before you hop out of the chat to type your first name and last name in the chat for attendance.
Thank you, Marcella. All right. Well, I don't want to keep you all too much longer, as I know there's a little bit of a break in the schedule after this, and therefore rest is important. Rest is radical, and so be sure to take advantage of those 30 minutes before the next session starts up. So thank you all, and best of luck this semester, and go Colts.
Yeah, thank you,
I
Jen.
applaud all of you for taking advantage of Colts-Con, and again, wish you all the best in this upcoming semester.
Thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom with us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Just
Thank you.
little drips of wisdom that I've learned from others. So it's great to share out again. And thank you all for being here today, especially those of you who came to the session twice. I greatly appreciate your participation.
Okay, see everyone later.
All right, bye. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.